Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Kyle from Mountain Woodworking. Today, we're building a bar top. Our clients were looking for a 10.5 foot long by 32 inch wide maple bar top. Unfortunately, we did not have any slabs that were 32 inches wide, so we ended up using two slabs that were 24 inches wide to build the bar top. So what we're doing here is we're using our track saw and we're cutting these slabs down to the size that we need. Both these are about 24 inches wide. Overall, we need to be at 32 inches wide. So each slab that we're cutting needs to be approximately 16 inches wide. Once we have our width cut on both the slabs, we'll go back and square the ends, take them to close to our finished measurement, which again is going to be 10.5 feet. And once all the ends are squared, we put them together to see how they look. Once we have the wood cut, we get ready to glue it up. Anytime we do a glue up, whether it be a table, a bar, anytime we're attaching two pieces of wood together like this, we always use dominoes. Now, for those of you who don't know what dominoes are, and I'm not talking about your game dominoes, these are wood dominoes. They kind of look the same as you're playing dominoes, but what it's meant to do, it basically makes gluing up a lot easier. As you see here, we're drilling all the pilot holes. So these holes are built on the same height and width from the end on both slabs. A domino goes in one, then you glue it, slide it into the other. It just makes sure that everything is lined up. Typically when we do the glue ups like this with the dominoes, we put the dominoes in, we lay them down, we attach them, put a couple clamps on, everything slides in, no problem. With these, because they were almost 11 foot, they did have a little bow to them in the middle, so we had to encourage this one with a little bit. Once we got it lined up, the center bowed up a little bit, so I had a little extra help from two of the guys to get that bow down so we could put the clamps where they needed to be, tighten it up, get a nice snug fit. Don't mess up. So be in camera for it. This customer had a couple different requests. They wanted a liquid glass finished, and they wanted deer tracks going across the bar top. So we were able to give them both. So we actually hand carved every deer track into this tabletop. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I don't have the patience or the talent to do that. But what we do have is we have a laser engraving machine that can pretty much engrave any image onto a piece of wood. So that's what we did here. We engraved the deer tracks into the top before adding our finish. Anytime you do a liquid glass finish, you need to do it in a couple different steps. The first step is taking a very thin layer and either using a paintbrush or a scraper like we have here and applying a very thin coat to the top. What this does, it just helps eliminate any future air bubbles you're going to get in the table. The number one problem with liquid glass finish is getting air bubbles. Your wood is porous, it has holes in it, air is going to constantly come up from that when a liquid goes in there. So by doing this first coat, spreading this around and letting it sit for a few hours, we give this time for the epoxy to get down into those holes and hopefully eliminate our future problems of having the air bubbles. Once you let that set for a few hours, you're ready for the next step. And this is probably the easiest part, is pouring. Epoxy is self-leveling. So that means when you pour it, you don't have to do anything to it. You're not scraping this around. It self-levels at about 1/8 inch is what it self-levels at. So basically here we're just pouring. We're pouring, making sure we cover every square inch of this table and letting it level out. Once we're done pouring, we go over it again with a torch or a heat gun to pop any more of the bubbles that are coming up through. And pretty much after you torch that, you're done. You let it cure for 24 hours, you come back to a nice flawless bar top. But that was not the case. Unfortunately, when we came back the next day, we did see a few air bubbles that came up in those 24 hours, and they just never popped. So they stayed an air bubble on top of the surface. We also had 2 spots on this table that never fully cured. They were a little bit tacky. Now, thankfully, there are ways that we can fix this. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to start at 120 grit, and we're going to sand the entire table. Now, what we're trying to do is we're just sanding those air bubbles out and sanding those sticky spots out. We're going to sand them down, and then from there, we are going to work from 120 grit all the way up to 1,000 grit. At this point in time, we are very happy with how the table looks. We just got done with our 1,000 grit. All of the blemishes are gone. It is now a smooth, perfect surface. But what you will notice is the dull look that it has now. Epoxy has a very high shine. So the only way to get that high shine back is to buff it with compounds. So that's what you'll see here in the next couple minutes. We do 3 different types of compounds, buffing them several times to get that shine back up to the finish of the epoxy. As you see here, the bar top is as shiny as it was whenever we poured that epoxy. So at this point in time, this bar top is finished and ready to be delivered. We just want to say a big thank you to these clients and all of our clients. One of the best parts of the job is being able to work with so many different people and bring all of their ideas to life. But that's pretty much it for this build, guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, and remember, stay tuned for future videos. Thanks, guys. See ya.